Good morning, and welcome to Central Texas. My name is Rich Hilleth, and I serve as the Communications Vista for the Blanco River Regional Recovery Team. And we serve as the long-term recovery agency for Blanco, Hays, Caldwell, and Guadalupe counties in Central Texas. BR3T was formed following two devastating disasters that occurred in 2015, the Memorial Day storm and was known as the All Saints storm. The first of these storms occurred May 23rd, Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. Heavy rainfall had been predicted. However, no one really expected that these heavy rain cells would actually stall over what's known as Texas Hill Country. Texas Hill Country is an area of limestone hills and valleys that's upstream from Wimberley, Texas. As more than 16 inches of rain fell, the water quickly ran off and rolled into the upper reaches of the Blanco River. Uh, as the water moved downstream, it literally formed a wall of water that at one point doubled in size every 10 seconds. An amazing amount of water. Uh, as people went to bed on Saturday night in Wimberley, most people expected the storms to continue, but nobody had any idea of what was about to happen. About 9 o'clock that night, the official National Weather Service gauge at Wimberley for the Blanco River was 5 foot of water, and water was flowing about 700 cubic feet per second. At 1 o'clock that morning, when that gauge was washed out, the last readings on it were 43 feet, and water was flowing over 70,000 cubic feet per second. An amazing, amazing amount of water. Uh, well, imagine going to bed Saturday night and you're in a sound sleep, and all of a sudden you hear trees crashing and other debris crashing into the side of your house. You climb out of bed, and when you step onto the floor, there's more than a foot of water already on the floor, and you're 40 feet above where the river was when you went to bed. It's kind of a scary feeling. This event literally washed homes into the river. In fact, you may remember the tragic story of the mother calling 911 as the home was floating down the river. Imagine being the person on the other end of that phone call when that home hit the Ranch Road 12 and disintegrated. Uh, Very, very terrifying events that night. As this water made it downstream into San Marcos and Martindale, it left the more canyon-like areas of the hill country and spread out, but it flooded homes more than a quarter mile from the river. Many of these homes were where families had their entire lives were wrapped up inside that home. These families lost everything. As many people were still cleaning up, struggling to go ahead and rebuild, a second flood occurred in late October of 2015. In fact, the day before Halloween, uh, a second flood hit, and it devastated a lot of the homes. It even destroyed some of the homes that had just been cleaned up from the previous flood. But unlike the May event where it was a cell that stalled off site and everything washed in, this was a huge cell that went ahead and formed over much of Central Texas and dropped very, very, very intense rainfall. Accompanying that were also multiple tornadoes, straight line winds, lightning. Um, Very, very scary situation. At one point at Austin Bergstrom Airport, uh, the National Weather Service reported that more than 6.5 inches of rain per hour was falling, very, very heavy intensity, and it felt like that for 2.5 hours. As you can imagine, it went ahead and caused a lot of not only flooding in the rivers but also urban flooding and water running down off hills that impacted homes that people never would have expected. Um, One of the very, very scary stories that I've heard. There was a lady that lived out in Wimberley, still lives in Wimberley. Uh, she woke up, it was a stormy day, but she was getting ready to go to work, and the National Weather Service, the weather radio came on with a tornado warning, telling everybody to seek immediate shelter. While she huddled underneath the stairway with her dogs and her cats, she knows water started coming in through the garage door, or through the door from the garage into the house, and she climbs out and she walks over to the door, and when she opens it up, more than a foot of water started washing in. She panics trying to figure out what's going on. She grabs the cats, grabs the dogs, and makes it out to her car. And by this time, water is already up to the doors of the car. She struggles to make it out of the neighborhood, and she finally makes it to high ground, even though most of the roads in the area were closed or inundated by water. When she finally makes it home, she opens the doors, and there's a more than a foot of mud, mixed with household belongings, mixed with debris, mixed with water. And the house was a mess. Well, through the her work and the work of neighbors and some volunteers, they finally got all the mud out of the house, and they got some of the drywall stripped out and insulation stripped out, flooring, everything that was impacted by the river or by the water. Uh, but she didn't have the resources to go ahead and rebuild. She basically had a house that was basically a shell. Uh, well, this is where BR3T steps in. As the official long-term recovery agency, we help those that are impacted by disaster by bringing together various different resources and helping these people rebuild their homes and rebuild their lives. BR3T, the first thing we do is we bring them in through a case management process, and we assess first that yes, they are truly needy and that they have used up all of their resources that they have normally. We help them access uh, their FEMA claims, to help them with their individual assistance. We help them if they have insurance, flood insurance. We help them with that. We look at the various different resources that they have and try to put together a plan to help them rebuild their homes. For those areas that, or for the people that have very few resources, we help them find the unmet needs and help them find the resources to help fill those unmet needs. Uh, some of that's financial, some of that's through the volunteer labor that we're able to work with. BR3T is very proud to go ahead and partner with agencies, various different agencies from around the country, national VOADs or volunteer organizations active in disaster, that they have people that volunteer their time and in many cases pay their own expenses to come down and help people rebuild. Uh, Many of these people are retired. Some of them are skilled tradesmen that are spending their vacations down here. But most of all, it's people are down here volunteering their lives to help people that they don't know, but they know that are needing some assistance. So anyway, it's very humbling and very rewarding work. Uh, in closing, I want to invite you to visit our website. It's br3t.org, and also like our Facebook page. Um, Consider how you might be able to help. We're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for donations, both financial and building materials. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We're proud of the fact that because of our extremely low overhead, 95% of all our donations go directly to those impacted. Um, Please consider helping support this great effort. We realize there's disasters all over the country, but you know now that we're more than a year out from the initial disaster and approaching the anniversary of the second, uh, our task is a little bit tougher. So thank you very much.